Sodor has had some memorable moments, most of which have been successful. There
If we
have been some
finish early
mishaps, too
tomorrow,
many to
we
count,
can get the day
especially
off so
with
you
dealing with
can
old
spend time
enemies,
with Katrina.
specters, and even having so much confusion and delay. Thomas the Tank Engine has had many adventures on Sodor, especially going around the world recently. However, there's one engine that has had an adventure he will surely remember for a very long time.
Come on, get those tracks shunted, Brandon, before long we'll have the train out of here faster than you can say Brillinton.
Yes, sir. Trying, sir.
Good job, Brandon. Now you deserve a rest.
Jeez, Brandon, you look so tired.
More coal and water it is, and wait a minute.
Brandon? Brandon? Brandon!
Whoa, what?
Are you alright?
Yes, I am.
You look as if you're hiding something.
Yeah, does it have to do with that engine? No, no, nothing. Nothing to do with it. Her. She's very,
Interesting.
say that. Brandon made his way back to his shed, wondering who that unfamiliar engine was. He sought the yards. The next morning, Brandon was working extra hard, pulling coaches for the main line of branch line services. He then took a very heavy goods train as the engine pulling it had failed trying to exit the sheds. When he arrived, Brandon was exhausted and was very tired. He slunk into a siding. There he saw the familiar engine idling across from him. The engine was simmering happily, admiring the view. She was bigger than Brandon and appeared to be very friendly. Brandon felt impressed with the newcomer. He popped up to the engine and began to speak. Hello, nice to meet you.
Hey.
I saw you yesterday when I was shunting. It's nice to meet you. My name is Brandon. What's yours?
Ми нами із чим плічати та проноунче будь мастпі оплічал мне Katrina.
Nice to meet you, Katrina. Do you mind if I call you Kate?
В урсі.
Brendan admired Katrina. She was painted green with red wheels and had the number 96 on both sides of her tender. Katrina's nameplate glistened. In the setting sun, it was painted red, white, and blue. Brendan did not want to get too personal with Katrina. She was too busy admiring her paintwork. I must say, Katrina, you are a hard worker from what I hear.
Thank you.
I must be off, Katrina. It was nice to meet you. Have a great evening.
Yeuta.
Brendan puffed away, blushing with happiness.
I knew you were hiding something. You're interested in her?
Yes, driver, I am. She's so pretty, outspoken, and... His voice trailed off as Merlin passed by.
Good evening, my fellow friend. Talking to the newcomer. She's a hard worker.
Are you one of the experimental engines that work at the steelworks?
Why, yes, I am. And you must be Brandon. I am Merlin. I always am a great hider. Invisibility on.
Gah!
What's wrong? Did I give you a fright?
Sorry, Merlin, I didn't see you there for a second.
No worries. You're not the only engine I've scanned with my invisibility.
Merlin, what are you doing? We have a huge shipment of steel, sir. Oh, hi, Thomas. Thomas!
I'm not Thomas. I'm Brandon, one of Thomas's brothers. Are you Hurricane? I heard about what happened. Sorry about your wheels.
No worries, Brandon. We only need help through between you and I. Frankie really wanted Thomas to be with us for a very long time, and...
I understand. Well, see you later, Hurricane.
Cheers, mate.
That night, Brandon could not stop fantasizing about Katrina. As he went to sleep, he kept dreaming and dreaming of her throughout the night. A few days later, Brandon was working endlessly, getting all his trains on time. That evening, he returned to the same setting. There stood Katrina, trying to reverse some trucks he was siding, but they would not budge. Hi, Kate.
Ей.
Do you need any help with that?
Суритеся труткс уонт мови витриет мавингтем будь те юсто уонт мови.
There's a way to get these trucks to get in the siding. Their brakes slip on accidentally on purpose, just to get engines on their nerves. All you need to do is give them a bump, and that will stop their nonsense.
Whatever is happening.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Kate. Do you mind if I take you back to the sheds?
Same go, thank you.
I understand. You have a very wonderful evening.
Yeuta.
She is catching on to you, Brandon. Soon you two may be more than friends.
Quite true. Thomas Sawyer has done that multiple times. Too many to count. Thomas made his way back to the sheds, thinking about Katrina, wondering what would happen when they would next meet. News soon spread across Sodor about Brandon and his friendship with Katrina. All the engines were starting to get intrigued.
From what I hear, those two seem to be a fine pair together.
That newcomer seems to be very kind.
She is such a beautiful engine. Almost as beautiful as me.
Attention engines! Sir Topham Hatt arrived. He had big news. As you know, Brandon is working very hard at the yards over at the mainland, so he may come over to help out. Goods and passengers are at an all-time high.
So does this mean that we will be working back-to-back shifts to keep up with the time schedule?
Not the case, Peter, for in fact our friend Daylight will be arriving this afternoon to help with both passengers and freight services.
Sir, what about that new engine?
What do you mean, Edward? Daylight is all I am expecting aside from Brandon.
There's another engine we were just talking about, sir.
A very splendid engine?
Any kind?
And famous.
And Great Western.
Not so, Duck. This engine you mentioned hails from Russia.
From Russia?
The only engine I have known from Russia's Ivan.
Does it sound like I'm referring to Ivan Henry? All right, Nigel, let's not get our circuits fizzling.
Russia, eh? Is he?
It's a she, Sir Topham. Odd. Last I checked, the engine's data files told me the opposite.
Well, whatever her name is, I can't wait to meet her.
Don't you mean all of us, James?
Ah, yes, right. Sorry, Mr. Star, sir.
Anyways, I will have to look more into her. Thank you for bringing her to my attention. Now, engines, it's best that we get a good night's rest. All the engines slowly fell asleep, looking forward to tomorrow's busy day. Sir Topham Hatt, meanwhile, had some concerns. I will have to mention to both Nigel and John more about this female engine from Russia. Sounds intriguing, to say the least. Back on the mainland that evening, strange events began to happen, events that would result in unfortunate in unhealable consequences.
Now, to begin my triumphant return.
Months passed, and Brandon and Katrina saw more and more of each other. They both felt humble and honored. Every meetup constituted their keen interest in one another. One hot summer day, Thomas was working very hard at the yards when he saw some engines that he had not seen in a while.
Hello, Brandon.
Adam, hello, how are you?
Just fine, Brandon. Where are you going?
Great, Adam. I'd best be going. We'll talk to you soon.
Oh, okay. See you, Brandon.
Seems like he was tired.
Could be that Murdoch. No idea.
I'm sorry, Kate. I have a busy day tomorrow. Maybe another time.
You understand.
If we finish early tomorrow, we can get the day off so you can spend time with Katrina.
I think that will work out well, hopefully.
I'm sure that it will.
Brandon worked very hard the next day, pulling and pushing trucks and coaches wherever they were needed. At last, his jobs were done in the day, and Brandon felt tired but relieved. The next day, Brandon met up with Katrina at the junction. She was waiting for her path to be cleared. Say, do you want to go and see the sunset tonight? I'm free all day. Katrina waited for a few minutes until...
Я am free all day.
Excellent, Kate. We'll see each other at sunset. Meanwhile, both did not realize he was watching them in the distance.
Now, for the pieces to fall into the right place.
Hello, Kate. I did it for this occasion, my dear. The pair watched the sun slowly set, but then... I love you, Kate.
Газетя, ты да. Меня зовут Брэндон. Я расскажу тебе свет, что я из Канады.
I'm sorry. Thank you for inviting me to see the view, babe. We must do that again sometime. So, what would you like to do now?
Я работаю весь день, большую часть времени. Каковы твои планы будущее и дальше?
What was your favorite moment? Mine too. Well, here we are. I must be getting back to the sheds. I love you, Kate. I'm sorry. I still love you, though. Brandon popped back to the sheds, feeling confident and cheerful. However, he knew that whatever that racket that was caused during the sunset was not his doing. Dr. Beeching's plan was slowly coming to plan. However, back on Sodor, the others had heard the whereabouts of Beeching and were concerned.
His ghost has returned. I don't like this at all.
Tell me about it. We all had to deal with ghosts at one point or another.
Engines, we have trouble.
What kind of trouble, sir?
It's over on the mainland. Reports of Dr. Beeching's spirits have...
We were just discussing that, sir.
Yes, but worse. 2 engines are also involved.
Jasper better not be one of those 2. After all, he did change sides recently after the demise of Red Claw, Screech, and Thud. Diesel 1000 could be one of those 2 engines. The Dodge, we witnessed Diesel 1000's demise. We saw what unfolded.
Regardless, engines, Dr. Beeching may have some sort of mind control and...
Oh, bother. I bet Reginald is one of those 2 engines.
No, Gordon. I bet that it's Dr. Beeching himself that is mind controlling what is going on over on the mainland. We will take a great course of action once we get to the mainland.
Sure, no offense, but should some of us go in case Dr. Beeching tries to mind control other engines on the mainland?
Your concern is noted, but I have a feeling I know what he really wants.
What would that be, sir?
Pure and utter sabotage so he can rewrite railway operations under his image. I vow for this to not happen to Sodor or anywhere in the world. Days passed, and all were soon busy. Brandon, meanwhile, had not seen or heard from Katrina since their first outing. At last, one day, Brandon saw Katrina in the sidings. Hello, Kate. How are you? I didn't mean to. I just got carried away. I'm sorry, Kate. I'll make sure it does not happen again. I'm truly sorry, Kate. Really, I am.
Eu quiset lipset intuition check but eu ignorietat.
I'm sorry, Kate. I'll leave you be. Brandon felt terrible. He wanted to tell the truth to Kate, but he did not want to do that while during work. He had to do it sooner than later.
Oh dear. Merlin, are you okay? Yes, dear, I'm fine. Brandon, however, it isn't. I saw everything. There must be a misunderstanding. You could be right. Anyhow, I will help Brandon no matter what. I will, and I must.
A few months passed. Brandon didn't really see Katrina that much. He kept to himself sometimes and was very social around the other engines. However, no sign of Katrina, that is, until early September, that Brandon found her on the main line, taking enthusiasts on an excursion train. Brandon felt happy as Brandon was resting. Katrina approached the E2. Brandon was surprised. Hello, Kate, how are you?
Fine.
Brandon began to tell Kate his adventures he had throughout the remainder of the summer. I was thinking about you the whole time while I was working. I had a great rest of the summer, even though what you told me was right. Brandon paused. What other interests do you have, Kate, aside from watching the sunset?
If I am not scheduled for a certain period of time.
What are your favorites? I do love those. What's their names? Those Pixar films? Brandon was happy at that moment, convinced things would turn around for him. However, meanwhile...
Step 1 complete. Step 2 commence. Adam, you know what to do.
Yes, sir.
I can only see now the pain and misery that E2 will suffer once the final step is near.
A few days went on. Brandon offered Katrina some extra coal from his coal bunker, but despite the kind offer, she said she was alright. And told Brandon that he was a vegan type of engine. Brandon knew what that meant. Then the next day, they met in the goods yard. Katrina was annoyed by this point. Hello, Kate. How are you? Would you like to go out to the gala? I'm sure the others would be glad to meet you. Sorry, I was only asking as a friend.
You understand, thank you.
Brandon felt ashamed. He knew that what happened back in the summer was not his fault, so he gained courage and slowly popped up beside Katrina. The tender engine violently snapped and glared at the E2. Look, Kate, I'm so sorry. It was not my fault for what happened back in the summer. I swear we were not alone. I care for you more than anything, and I only want the best for you. I understand, as do I. Have an excellent day, Kate. For the rest of the day, Brandon worked really hard, shunning about the yards and pulling his train as usual. Then it was late. Brandon, feeling tired and exhausted, popped into his sign to rest. He was nearly out of water. Then Brandon saw an engine that was painted orange and had the number 18 on her side tanks.
Hello.
Hello, Nia?
I heard about your relationship. How's that going?
Oh, Nia, it's a long story. Katrina sat to me. She does not believe me for what happened on her first date, and I feel so terrible. Brandon began to cry, tears streaming down his cheeks, and explained everything to his sister.
Brandon, do you remember when I returned from China with Thomas?
Yes, I heard.
You do know I needed full confidence to regain Thomas' trust.
Yes, I do.
Brandon, do you need company?
Yes, I do. Nia soothed the hurt feelings of Brandon. His driver and fireman realized what happened. Nia pulled Brandon to the nearest water tower so he could be fueled. Brandon felt better, but still felt awful for what happened.
Brandon, look at me. It's okay. I'm here for you.
Edward pulled up next to the engines.
Nia, what is going on here?
Nia explained everything to Edward. He was furious.
I know who it was and who did it.
You do?
Yes, I do, but I will tell you in the morning. Sadly, I have to take the flying kipper. Henry nearly turned over, but his front axle cracked, and Rebecca was called away to help the Flying Scots with a special delivery for the mainland.
Edward, is it Dr. Beeching? I have heard about his ghost.
You heard about his tales, haven't you?
Yes, he nearly killed me and 3 of my brothers.
And so will I.
The next day, Brandon worked harder than ever. He bashed the trucks, he trolled about with the coaches. Nia stopped next to the tank engine with 2 coaches behind her.
Are you okay, Brandon?
Yes, I'm working harder than ever before. There's no delay, nothing to worry about.
Well, you are messing up the odds.
Brandon realized that Back Island was a mess. It was his fault. He sadly cleaned up the mess, not realizing Katrina was watching in the distance. She was fed up and decided to put things right. Nia noticed that Katrina was there. Katrina puffed as fast as the wheels would let her.
Seems she's in a hurry.
The next night, Brandon was in the sheds, thinking about his options when Katrina rolled into the sheds. Okay. Nia looked over and thought it was a time to say something.
Excuse me, Katrina.
Yes.
I couldn't help overhearing, but mind if I talk to you alone?
Sorry.
Both engines left the sheds. Brandon was mortified and worried for Nia. When she and Katrina were out of sight of Brandon, they spoke to each other. Nia began first.
You may not know me, but you might have heard the tale of me trusting my friend Thomas, and well, me almost being scrapped me, but Thomas apologized. Sadly, there's a handful of tank engines left, including Brandon.
Your point.
Don't give Brandon a hard time, he's worried. Because, well, there was an incident where earlier this year I went on an amazing journey with Thomas and a very self-centered rally car. I nearly lost a friend during the trip because I thought he was very rude to me, and because he saved me from falling down the snowy mountains of China. I regained my trust with Thomas. With time you will regain the trust of Brandon. It must be a clear misunderstanding. The point is that Brandon feels bad for being like that to you because he has never been in a relationship before.
Фирстрелation шибути дантриалик нувать и сурон куитимбуть и планто спектаим татриант макисен сеафуатриал апинет бачкенты сумер.
Katrina, he cares about you, but at the same time he cares about me because he is worried something bad may happen in the future.
И understand таки да ант, умай чаря бут ми бичаусев мы лаукс. Katrina
went away in a huff, leaving Nia feeling worried for Brandon. Katrina decided to sleep in a disused cider where no one will find her. Her crew decided to taxi home for the evening, leaving their engine parked for the night until morning. The next day, the yard was busy. Brandon was working really hard as usual. Not seeing much, Brandon looked over as he saw Nia pass with 2 coaches. Then afternoon came. Brandon made his way to the yard where Katrina was waiting for him. She was cross and determined. Brandon's firebox was sizzling with worry. Then he slowly pulled up to Katrina. Nia was nearby, 2 traffic were watched with intrigue. Hello, Kate. You want to see me?
Юанта макетчлар дать и дано то анта сечон дати. Как бичаузев яу и авиат атаки специальча альта трандгетя ур мемории саутак моменты фитуас нот форте фул фирст дати.
Trying to make you happy. The thing is,
ты тинка статстун туас вера фунгана и туас ntиам шарит бичаузев яу и амат бичаузев яу антиам авинг никт марис бичаузев яу салявим ялуниак.
Wait, Kate, look, I meant for no harm. There has to be a misunderstanding.
Brandon listen.
I'm listening.
Яу май бионичего доктори ари от стать прасятер фишинг туатер.
I think you're the most beautiful engine in the world.
You side бичаузев лаоксис.
Well, no, really, look, I am sorry, Kate. I will talk to you later. You have a good day. Both engines made their separate ways. Nia could not believe what she had overheard, so she decided to go talk to some sense into Katrina. Meanwhile, in Sodor, there were further problems. Henry's axle would not be repaired in time for his first train tomorrow. The repairs, however, would be completed throughout the afternoon hours, so Rebecca was called back in to help with Henry's work. Edwards, who was tired taking the Flying Scotsman, was resting and wondered if Brandon and Nia were all right.
God, I hope both those 2 are okay. Nia's expected to return to Sodor within a few weeks.
You see, my fellow engines, I enjoy a little bit of fun. But now it's time for step 3.
What's step 3, Doctor?
Simple. Cause total havoc over between those 2 engines, then it will be pure madness. Madness, I tell you.
So what is the 3rd step? Scrapping them both?
What comes later, Ivan, the 3rd step involves both engines being not only afraid of each other, but more or less being the more common enemies than lovers.
We'll see about that.
Who was that?
Narushitin!
Get back here, you lumbering oaf.
Burak ran as fast as his wheels carried him. Then in the distance he saw Katrina looking very cross.
Idiots! I thought I could trust you!
We won't let it happen again, Doctor.
Katrina.
Гаалай.
I heard about you and Brandon. You owe him an apology.
Форюать бинка напсал телеорст фирст дати.
Let me tell you, my dear.
Я амнан ездиар листен тамечари фулы амабуса янгине.
I realize that, but there's the thing. My name is Murdoch, and... Katrina, do you realize that was very rude? Murdoch felt hurt by what Katrina said, and he sadly puffed away.
What is wrong, Adam?
That self-centered Katrina has no idea what's coming to her.
Now, Adam, our goal is to scrap the engine and her so-called boyfriend.
Do you know this Katrina?
Duh. Sadly, I do. That engine and I have a feud a few years back.
Do tell, Ivan.
It all began back in 2016. Katrina was going to be loaded onto a ship destined for the Back Island. I knew Katrina very well. She was kind, outgoing, and eager to impress. However, after the misfortune with some trucks, she screamed my exhaust out, telling me what a clumsy diesel I was, and I was hurt by this remark. So I went to the sheds. I was deeply saddened. We knew each other for over a year, and turning around and saying that to me was a surprise. I refused to come out of my shed for days until Katrina left. Since then, I vowed to repay that engine for what she did to me.
Wow, small world. You and her both from Russia. I am surprised.
Yeah, indeed. But we must focus on destroying those two engines.
Whoa, hold on. I have an idea.
Like what, my friend? Going to finding her and actually convincing her that I was not the bad guy?
No! I am going to get it straight with her and tell her what I think of that. It will enable you to assist the doctor with our devious plan.
I like the sound of that. But how are we going to wait?
What?
I will speak to the doctor about our plan. Good thinking, Adamska. Now we will finish that volatile engine off for good.
Meanwhile, Brandon was still depressed. Then he saw Katrina rescuing in a siding. Brandon was determined to settle this once and for all. Hello, Kate.
Itaukt imadit čljartać identuan total kriktnute silast feumantsavi beinanikt maria urtenikt marisadent battermie.
But Kate, listen.
Nope.
Brandon felt hurt by what Katrina said, so he sat there for a few minutes looking down at his buffers before he left to the sheds. Katrina glaring at the E2 until he was out of sight. That evening, Sir Topham Hatt received a phone call from Brandon's crew. I will be right there first thing in the morning. The next day, Brandon was busy as usual, but he was unusually silent. However, after he had pulled his last train for the day, Brandon noticed that Sir Topham Hatt was waiting at the platform. He had a concerned look on his face. Brandon thought he was in deep trouble. Brandon, after you have shunted your train, can I have a word with you for a moment? Yes, sir. Understood, sir. Brandon, I have heard about things regarding you and Katrina. Yes, sir. I am truly sorry, sir. She and I have had a very tense argument, and I'm trying to set things right, sir. I am sorry this had to happen between the two of you. However, I do suggest until she can make sense of your situation, you should probably stay away from her for both of your own good. I understand, sir. I will do. I will keep my word. That's good. Lately, I've been hearing that she has been rude to the others. Murdoch especially. Oh, dear. He is sensitive, but he's not the only engine that has confronted Katrina, so I will have a word with all involved. Sir, may I ask something? Yes, Brandon. May I be there with you when you speak to Katrina, because there are some things I would like to get off my soapbox. Very well, and trust me, since it's your situation, I will allow you to handle it. But I am the controller of Sodor, and my decisions are final when it comes to engines of rude behavior. Understood, sir. Sir Topham Hatt walked to his car and drove back to Sodor, leaving a very somewhat confident E2 thinking about their conversation.
I see.
Adam, what are you doing?
Spying, that's what?
Well, we must retreat. The doctor has a plan that will end those two sorry and pitiful engines.
For the next several months leading up to Christmas, Brandon worked hard as usual and was commended for his hard work ethic. Sadly, though, even though Brandon was hopeful, he did not see Katrina in their engine berth. Brandon felt sad. He knew that what happened this summer was not her fault, and planned to make it up to her in the new year. The new year came. Brandon was looking forward to getting back to work. However, one morning his fire would not light. His driver and his fireman tried everything they knew, but it would not work. It was nearly time for the first train of the day, and Merlin was due out with his first passenger train. The passenger started to become concerned.
Where is that Brandon?
Last I heard it was thinking about that Russian engine.
Now let's be patient, he will be on his way and...
At last, Brandon started off. Oh dear, he yawned as he made his way to the platform. Merlin was concerned for his friend. He didn't care if he was late or not at this point.
Brandon, are you okay?
I'm fine, Merlin. Must have overslept this morning.
Well, I understand we must not keep the passengers waiting. Brandon, take your time.
Brandon quickly shunted Merlin's coaches into place as the passengers got in and the guard blew his whistle, and Merlin set off. Concerned for Brandon, he thought of an engine or someone that could help his friend. However, Merlin saw Katrina at the next station. She was belittling Arthur.
I'm sorry, was onlei. Sorry, Katrina leefste niet te was een accident is weer.
Just get out of my way.
Oh dear, I don't want to intrude.
That Katrina should be punished for what she is doing.
Are you alright, Arthur?
No Merlin, dat Katrina is.
Say it, I won't be offended.
Dat Katrina is zelfcentered.
Oh dear, Arthur, try to stay calm.
Damn, Katrina.
What's wrong, driver?
Arthur's safety valve is jammed. Wait till I...
Whoa, fireman, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Look, I will take your train as well as my own.
Dank jou, Merlin.
Merlin shunted Arthur into a disused siding, shunted his coaches behind Merlin's, and set up for the next station. However, due to Arthur's safety valve getting jammed, other engines had to do the rest of his work as well as their own. Nia came to take Arthur back to the shed that night. Nia was cross.
That damned Katrina, I swear.
I am sorry, you had to hear it.
Tell me about it.
Wat happened to you and murder did Katrina get to you?
Fortunately, she did. Now I feel weak because of her telling me to shut up.
Alright, that's it. Next time I see Katrina, I will give her more than a stern warning.
Wait, if Brandon finds out, he won't like that.
You're right, Murdoch.
Indeed, Nia, and that's why I'm going to plan and speak to Katrina first thing or whenever I see her tomorrow.
But Merlin, you can't. What if you get hurt by Katrina? Who knows what she may do?
I will take the matter in a different approach. Trust me, she won't see it coming.
You're going to?
Heavens no, Arthur. I will simply speak to her, that's all.
Merlin backed into the engine berth and went fast asleep. Katrina, meanwhile, was reflecting on what she did, not knowing an old friend was glaring in the distance.
Wait till tomorrow. When I rip into you, Katrina, you will hopefully understand everything.
Ivan, are you out of your mind?
It's part of the plan, Adam. Listen carefully. Dr. Beeching wants me to do this, so he finally fulfills his dreams, and BR can rid of that engine's existence.
Rubbish. You're too self-centered to admit the fact that if she sees us, we're scrap.
Right now, Adam, I am not in the mood for arguments. The brain is she.
That Katrina's a unique kind. Maybe by sweet-talking her tomorrow, we'll change the game completely.
The next day, Brandon awoke to find things as usual. However, he noticed that things felt normal to him, and his boiler bubbled nearing the end of the day. He could have felt Katrina in the yards, but she was not even there. Brandon did not know that he looked one way then the other, and made a beeline to his shed. He felt terrible at this point and wanted to sell this himself. Katrina, if you hear me, I am sorry, my friend.
The poor engine.
Whose side are you on, Adam?
I was only joking.
Shut up, Damska. I swear the last thing we cannot have happen is betrayal.
Did I say we were switching sides?
Look, the doctor needs to see us straight away.
Who was that? Does not matter, I have to work tomorrow. Brandon woke up the next day tired and exhausted. When he refocused, he worked so hard that he started to worry for Katrina's safety, even after noticing Adam and Ivan outside the sheds the previous night. On the other side of the mainland, Merlin was making his way with a mixed train towards Sodor. Then it happened. Merlin saw Katrina in the distance coming the opposite end with a goods train.
I must disguise myself so she won't notice me. Invisibility on!
What was that about?
Is this called first class or is this below first class service?
Are we there yet?
Phew, that was a close one. What was Merlin?
Yeah, what was that about?
I had to go so invisible Katrina would not see me.
Oh, did she offend you too?
We heard about what happened to Brandon, Arthur, and Murdoch. They all were hurt by what she said.
I suggest stay far away from her, Merlin.
Hurricane, I appreciate it, but I'm doing this for Brandon. He needs this. Katrina must see the truth. I can sense there was something going on during that date of their last summer. You could be right, Merlin. Anyway, I must be off. I'll see you later, gentlemen.
Merlin roared away, trying to get back as fast as he could to warn of any immediate danger. Meanwhile, on Back Island, Brandon was busy hard at work. His boiler was bubbling with all sorts of emotion. He was trying to find a way to speak to Katrina once and for all. That's it. I have an idea. And Brandon puffed away to find Sir Topham Hatt. However, when he arrived at the platform, he was speaking to Adam. Adam, I want you to help Serena pull a large passenger train. Bear had trouble starting this morning, so I need you to help her with the train. Then help with the other engines. Do Bear's work as your own.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
Darn, we'll try later. Brandon felt embarrassed, but then thought to himself, I'll try it again. He is free, when it's just him and I. The next day, Brandon was working as usual, pulling and pushing coaches of freight cars into place. The passengers were very pleased, then since Brandon was getting back to his old self. Near the end of the day, Brandon saw Sir Topham Hatt. It was his chance to shine. Sir, do you have a moment? Yes. What is it, Brandon? I have thought about it, and thanks to my crew, I would like you to give this to Katrina on my behalf. I'm not so sure. I don't feel comfortable doing this. It is a personal situation between the two of you, so I should read it. Of course, go ahead, sir. This is very sweet. I am proud of you, Brandon. Driver, get a new envelope, reseal it. I will take care of the rest. I will let you know once I speak to Katrina. Thank you, sir. I have kept your word, and I will tend to keep it for you. That's a good engine. Now I must be off. Can't keep my train waiting. Thank you so much, sir. Anytime, Brandon. Anytime. Brandon puffed away, feeling very pleased. The next day, Brandon found Sir Topham Hatt on the platform. The driver presented the letter. Thank you, driver. Brandon, I will let you know when we next meet. Understood, sir. I will not leave you down. Have a good day, sir. Thank you, Brandon. You as well. Brandon worked very hard on his trains for the next several days. Meanwhile, Adam and Ivan found Katrina and began their plan.
Okay, I will handle this.
Adam, are you sure you can?
Hello?
What do you want?
My name is Adam. You must be Katrina, and... Listen, Katrina, if I insist, I suggest...
Get out of my way.
Excuse me?
Do not excuse me, excuse you, no, get out.
You did not even.
You
will get it throwing insults my way. What does she think she is?
I can tell your conversation ended poorly.
Yes, it did. That damn self-centered engine I merely said hello. But no, she blew me off like it's treated me as if I was not even there in the first place.
Listen, I have a history with Katrina, I told you. Remember, Adam, now it's my turn to reason with her.
Adam! You failure! You were supposed to kill her, not negotiate with her!
Dr. Beeching, I can explain.
Silence! There will be no explanation needed, and you have failed me, Adam. I hope you can do something to make it up to me.
And what would that be, Doctor?
Destroy that P-36. Her presence is starting to irritate me. As I plan to have her and that E2 scrapped, soon no trace of steam will not roam this earth. Diesel and Diesel only will rise to the end.
Distvite now, Doctor.
Now, where was I? Wait, Adam? Come back here. Where did you go?
Oh, bien. I will deal with him, Doctor. Leave him to me.
Good. The last thing I need to worry about right now is betrayal.
That evening, Brandon was making his way back to the sheds when he saw Katrina in the sidings. He quickly stopped, then reversed so he would not get noticed. However, Henry was making his way through with a freight train when he noticed Katrina.
Oh dear, it's Katrina. I better go quickly.
It's like everyone is now afraid of her because of our argument we had. I hope she got that note. It would mean the world if she accepted my apology.
Phew, that was a close one. I hope Brandon did not notice my interruption.
Henry is a snooper. Henry is a snooper.
Be quiet. It's Brandon's issue, not mine.
Brandon managed to get back to the yards without further issue. This is getting outrageous. There has to be a misunderstanding.
Oh, but there is, my friend. Just you wait and see.
The next day, it was busy as usual. Nothing happened to pop up. Nothing seemed to bother anyone. Nothing seemed to cause confusion and delay. Until that evening when Ivan plotted to confront Katrina.
Okay, you self-centered suka steam engine. It's time I put you in your place.
Finala da и чанца ой свери successful.
Is that so, Katrina?
What?
I know. It's been a long while.
Katrina was very surprised, but then was cross.
Чентюси и амикс austed.
Well, you don't appear to be.
You don't know me.
You see, Katerina, I too come from Russia. Just like you. Now, let's try to have a polite conversation.
You will give a political conversation.
Don't piss me off with your haughty attitude, Tsuka.
Lo avi bien viribus exhausted of muels nulliavi me bivan.
Not until I can figure out what's been troubling between you and that E2.
Ivan, I am serious.
Listen here, Katerina. You either listen, or there will be trouble.
Юздга.
И это еще не конец.
Ivan puffed away, red in the face with anger, and was determined to get payback for the unexpected conversation he had.
This is not over yet. She does not get it. Daddy too is probably thinking the same, or different. I don't know. What you do know is that Katerina is going to pay a very hefty price. For that response. How dare she offend me? How dare she?
Meanwhile, back on Sodor, Henry was talking to the other engines about his encounter with Katrina.
I'll tell you, she looked ready to call me out or do something to me.
Well, whatever you do, Henry, please try to stay away from her and let me take her buffer.
Gordon, you do realize Katrina is dating Brandon, the red E2, right?
Brandon.
The others were surprised to see Thomas.
Yeah, call me crazy, but Brandon was one of the last E2s created in 1995, after being shipped to Canada where he worked there from 1996 until 2013. He went to the mainland, but has never been on Sodor.
Oh, great. I bet Brandon knows about Timothy.
That demonic E2. Ugh, don't remind me. He threatened to kill me in 2015.
Remember, he has changed, so has the other ghosts.
It's troubling how he has not been able to move on from his demons after all these years.
Yeah, fair point, Thomas. What was I saying?
Engines! Sir Topham had arrived. He had an announcement. As you have heard, or probably not have by now, I was on the mainland talking to a red E2 named Brandon. He has been dating Katrina, a Russian P-36 class type. However, Katrina has shown resentment to Brandon. The other mainland engines have been able to keep things in order. Brandon, meanwhile, needs your help. Whatever you do, if you see Katrina, do not attempt to approach her until Brandon and I have neutralized the situation altogether. Have I made myself clear? All the engines agreed with Sir Topham Hatt at that moment, but then, should there be an issue regarding Katrina, I will confront her myself.
But with all due respect, you're dealing with the girlfriend of an E2. No offense, Thomas.
Yeah, you have what plenty by now. Save one for me.
Silence! The yard was silent until, as I was saying, should there be an issue, I will confront Katrina with Brandon.
But sir, Katrina appears to be a very powerful engine. You have confronted engines before, but I'm worried you may underestimate her, sir.
I've done that before, and I intend to not do that again. Thank you, Edward, for your utmost concern. Now, engines, it's best we all get a good night's rest.
Nia, are you okay?
Yes, Thomas, I am.
Did you see Katrina?
Yes, Thomas, I did.
Nia told Thomas and the other engines. The engines felt cross.
Disgraceful!
Disgusting!
Despicable.
Those poor engines, Murdoch, Arthur, and even Merlin. Something must be done before Katrina hurts another engine.
You know what, Edward? I'm going to find that Katrina and tell just what I think of her.
Gordon, remember Sir Topham Hatt clearly ordered us not to deal with the final discussion. Rest on both Brandon and our controller.
Besides, do you want to take on an engine of that size class as Katrina? Remember when we faced Rorik? He was a giant engine himself.
Fair point, but I feel we need to do something to help Brendan. He can't rely on the other engines to save his bunker.
Gordon, what I heard, it was a misunderstanding. It involved 2 engines and a ghost.
A ghost? Oh, great. Timothy decided to switch sides again. The world is doomed.
Gordon, listen, it was not Timothy. It was the spirit of the one who caused dieselization in the first place.
Oh no!
Dr. Beeching.
That doctor better not come near me or he will get more than a truck to the bogey.
You know, the whole situation between Brandon and Katrina reminds me of me and Rosie on Valentine's Day. But the only difference was that Rosie just wanted to be friends. But here, Brandon wants to be more than friends with Katrina. I see that whoever goes onto the mainland next must find Katrina and try to talk to her.
You can't be serious. What about our other jobs? The passengers, the freight?
Seems someone needs quiet work for a change.
Button it, James.
What? I'm only stating the obvious.
I am happy that you're taking charge, Gordon, but since Brandon is my brother, I think I will go to the mainland the next chance I get.
When will we get that chance next? Come Thomas, it had been sooner than later. Otherwise, Brandon may be sent for scrap for all we know.
Henry was right. Thomas had to do something before Brandon was on the chopping block.
You what?
Sir, please, let me explain.
Idiot! I told you to kill that Katrina, not spare her your misery!
Rest assured, this won't happen again.
It better not happen. Otherwise, you and Adam will be scrapped. For this, and where is that Adam? I swear he will get more than what is coming to him.
Oh, indeed, someday that day will come.
As Adam was plotting his personal revenge, Brandon, meanwhile, was hard at work. Everything was as smooth as the surface of the ocean. That is, until he had to clear the path of Katrina as she was coming through with the passenger train. Dare she sees me on toast. Then Brandon could hear Katrina's whistle. He puffed calmly to the junction. Brandon puffed quickly out of the way.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Brandon felt a sense of relief and happiness in his smoke box. He thought to himself, Katrina, I hope you understand I miss you as much as you miss me. Brandon puffed away, thinking to himself, not realizing that Merlin, Theo, and Hurricane saw everything.
Wow, did we just see?
Sounds as if she forgave Brandon. Could be, but we must not look ahead. Some of the other engines on the mainland do work with Katrina. A lot of my concern is that if that moment happened with Brandon, and we're to see it. Why that, Merlin?
Oh dear, you're right, Merlin. We must do what we can before it's...
Hurricane, I suggest we work closely with the other engines. What if Brandon sees us when we say? Simply we do it without him, or all for now until the time is right.
Whatever you say, Merlin. What if there's someone behind all this?
Hurricane was right. All three engines did not see Ivan, angered and determined, right behind them. Then as Ivan was about to approach the three unsuspecting engines, it happened.
Sirens! Oh dear.
Sounds like Joey and Mickey are on their way.
And they were right. Joey and Mickey made their way to Vickerstown Station.
Out of the way. She's called be serious.
Brandon got into the emergency siding just in time. What is wrong, Joey?
A passenger suffered food poisoning. Everything is investigating suspect.
Well, quick, get an ambulance before it's too late. The passenger was lifted into a stretcher and rushed to hospital by ambulance. Joey then saw something that caught his attention.
Sir, you might want to take a look at this. Looks like something very fizzy.
Have the investigation team look at it on the double.
What happened?
We had sirens go off. Was anyone hurt?
Looks to be serious, Theo. Very serious.
There was a passenger that was taken to the hospital. He'd be okay.
Hopefully, I hope it's not connected
to what happened to Brandon and Katrina.
No. I think it's something far worse than what we could have imagined. Until then, everyone, it's best we get back to work. A few days had gone by. The pastor was recovering well despite what happened. Brandon was working hard when he saw Katrina pass by. She exchanged a look at the E2 before making her way. Brandon felt uneasy as he continued his work. God damn it, what is it going to take? Meanwhile, in Sodor, Sir Topham was also concerned. Bother, I just can't fathom what the hell is going to take.
It just does not make sense, sir. Why would an engine of her class and beauty be so rude and spiteful towards Brandon?
If this continues, I swear I will have a word with that Katrina and... But then Sir Topham was interrupted.
There's trouble in the shed. Sir Henry won't start his crew as Mia and the passengers are saying this is a bad railway.
Thank you, Wiggles. Now I must go to the sheds.
But sir, what if you can't find another engine? What will you?
Nope. I will pull the train if all else fails.
You refused to pull Henry out of the tunnel all those years ago.
My daughter and butler forbidden me to pull, push, or even think of shutting Henry out. Sir John went back to the sheds to investigate. Back on the mainland, Brandon was working overtime, but he started to feel red in the face. Their crew now was very worried for their engine. By day's end, Brandon waited in the sidings. Then he saw Katrina in the distance, neutral but silent. Katrina puffed away onto the nearest sidetrack and out of sight. Brandon felt hurt. He tried almost everything to this point and felt as if he wanted to give in. Hello, Kate. But Katrina did not hear Brandon the E2. He said the thought quickly to himself. I do hope you understand, Katrina. I don't know. Brandon puffed savagely away to mull over the situation. Excuse me, I need a clear path to the sheds right now. I need to see someone. A friend.
Why, sure, I am certain that this friend of yours must be a good friend.
Yes. Yeah. She is. Sometimes you make a friend, the kind of love who stays. Sometimes you make a friend, and you're the one who goes away. Sometimes you're the one who acts a bit unkind. You didn't think, and you did something you can't forget and can't rewind. I'm sorry, so sorry, and I don't know what to do with you so far away. I'm sorry, so sorry, and as soon as I see you, that's exactly what I'm going to say. I'm sorry. I hope you're still my love. I'm sorry. So sorry, my love. Sometimes you make a friend, the kind of friend you need. You try to make her happy, but you don't always succeed. Sometimes you're the one who does something that's not okay. Sometimes you hurt the one and you don't know what to do or say. I'm sorry, so sorry. So I'll hold on to hope, I'll hold on tight, for a chance to make things right. I'm looking for you, I'll come through, if it takes me all my life. I'm sorry, so sorry, and I don't know what to do with you so far away. I'm sorry, so sorry, and as soon as I see you, that's exactly what I'm going to say. I'm sorry. I hope you're still my love. I'm sorry, so sorry, my love. Meanwhile on Sodor, there were further complications. Diesel 10 was talking to Splatter and Dodge.
Boss, we heard. Yes, Splodge, I heard as well. But Katrina is starting to get on my nerves. You would not use Pinchy on her, would you, boss? No, duh, says the engine that tried to destroy Lady years ago. Do not remind me. Either way, Splodge, I think we need to keep an eye out in the event we do see that engine. She is strong from what I heard. Boss, should we consult this with the other diesels? Fine, but as a precaution measure, only for now until we know about Katrina. Understood, Splodge?
Splatter and Dodge agreed as the trio made their way back to the diesel works. Meanwhile, Brandon was somber as he was quietly shunning some empty trucks into a siding. Then he saw Katrina pass by. Brandon thought about getting her attention, but the P-36 only made her way, not even saying hello to the Red E2. I won't give up, I promise, Katrina. I will prove my innocence. Back on Sodor, there was further problems.
Bother this delay! I will be late at this point!
Don't be whining now, Gordon. Another engine is coming through with an important train, and...
Oh no.
Who is it?
It's Katrina. Act innocent and don't say anything.
Katrina made her way with a passenger train.
Phew, that was close.
Tell me about it. That Katrina looks like she wants to pounce an instant you say any words to her.
Good day to you, madam.
Dan Topham.
So sorry, Katrina, is it? I meant no disrespect.
Katrina made her way, leaving Glenn quite annoyed.
Now that's not the way to treat someone like that.
But Glenn said that thought to himself. Elsewhere on Sodor, Percy was having a time as he delivered his passengers and freight to Elsbridge. He had to stop for some water, and Percy saw Katrina letting off passengers. Her eyes turned towards the number 6 engine. Percy was at a loss for words.
Hello? You're Katrina. My name is Percy and...
Percy was angry at this remark as Katrina puffed away with her train.
Why, you're a road engine.
Katrina's patience was wearing thin at this point. However, her crew noticed this and took it into account.
The nerve of that Katrina!
See what I mean? Treating Glenn and Percy like that! That's disgraceful!
I suggest something must be done.
Trust me, we have dealt with rude engines in the past before. Brandon must be proven innocent. Dr. Beeching, I sense, is behind this.
More or less as goes. Heck, where's Adam and Ivan when you need them?
Good question, Henry. I have no idea. Last I heard, they were on the mainland.
Katrina is the main focus, not Adam and Ivan.
What do you mean, Gordon?
My sense is those two betrayed us and are working for Dr. Beeching, I swear.
Botheration! Gordon, there's no way there has to be a proof that they are indeed working for Dr. Beeching. If they are, I bet Joey and Mickey will send them both to Railgate for a very long time.
At Wellsworth Station, Edward was resting in a siding. He had worked hard all day and was looking forward to a lengthy rest. However, it did not last long. Katrina was making her way through the junction. Edward only watched as the distressed engine made her way through the station. But Edward went to sleep not knowing what was about to happen. Katrina made her way to Henry's Hill. She struggled valiantly up the hill, but the drag of the heavy coaches was gained to her. But the weight was too much. Katrina was stuck. Katrina's driver went for help while the fireman and the guard went to check on the passengers to see if they were all right. Edward, who was resting, was awoken from his nap by one of the workmen.
Katrina is stuck on the hill. All she needs is a good push.
Yes, sir.
Edward made his way to the hill when he saw Katrina, annoyed and impatient.
Don't worry, Katrina. We'll soon get you up the hill.
Edward tried his hardest, but the heavy coaches got to him.
Nearly there. Nearly there.
And then there was trouble.
Bother.
I'm sorry, Edward, but you have broken your tires. Seems you need to go to the works.
But will be later.
You need to listen, madam, but I will ensure that you will be on time. That is, if you want me to get Sir Topham Hatt involved. Now driver, go and get help. We must get this matter solved.
Katrina stayed silent after that. Edward pushed her and the coaches to Crowin's Gate, where the passengers got out of the train, furious. However, the porter assured that another train would be on the way. Edward volunteered to help, so arrangements were made, and Edward was coupled up as Katrina was shunted into the workshops, where an angry foreman was waiting.
Since you like to take your anger out on others, well, looks like you will be here for a while.
In a few hours, Katrina was repaired and slowly made her way back to the mainland. Brandon was shunting when he remembered he had a small freight train to take to the goods yard. He coupled to the trucks and quickly made his way on his way back. He saw Katrina silent and looking at something next to her was a diesel he had never seen before. Brandon was tempered to reverse when the diesel approached the 82.
Need to get my maid.
Thank you.
No problem.
I hope you're not hitting on my future. Brandon sent that thought to himself as he made his way back to the sheds. He went to sleep thinking about what may happen, but that night he had a very weird and very surreal dream. One he would like to remember and forget. Where am I?
Brandon! Brandon!
Merlin, where am I? What happened?
That is not important right now. You must come with me at once.
Then what's important here? What the?
This is the universe, however, someone would like to see you.
Holy Audrey! Brandon could not believe what he saw.
iPhone, ha.
Merlin, what is this?
Dr. Beeching, I believe, is responsible for all of this.
Even interfering with my relationship with Katrina?
Most likely.
Then are looking into the mind of Dr. Beeching? What he envisions?
Yes, Thomas, but you must know something else.
What is that, Merlin?
There could be unforeseens that could foretell not only the future, but what is to come very soon.
Wait, Merlin. Where'd you go? Merlin? Merlin?
Aha! I found you!
You'll never win, Dr. Beeching.
Oh, but I will, Tank Engine. Now die with the rest of those worthless steam kettles!
Wait, where are you going? Wait, what are you doing? Merlin? Hurricane? Sir Topham Hatt? Katrina? Gah!
Good grief, what was that sound?
It was Brandon, he's told it all.
It was only a dream. Hopefully. Brandon went back to sleep, wanting to remember what he saw in his sleep the next day. The next day, Brandon was making his way to the shunting yards where he could see Katrina waiting to leave with her passenger train. Patrick rolled alongside, pulling a long, heavy freight train. Brandon eyed the very diesel with suspicion. Katrina was too focused on waiting for her passengers. Patrick, meanwhile, was waiting for his path to clear. Eventually, after a few minutes, his path was clear, and he made his way to Burlington Goods Yard. Stay away from my love, Brandon muttered to himself as he went about his shunting. He then stared at Katrina for a few moments, managing a weak smile before resuming work. Brandon was so determined to meet up with Katrina once again. Patrick, meanwhile, was a kind and friendly diesel himself. He was making his way with his train when he got stuck at a red signal.
Oh dear, seems there must be a danger on the line.
Patrick waited and waited until he was given the all clear. As he made his way, he saw the problem. Merlin had a coach that suffered a leaky pipe that had him delayed, unfortunately. The coach was uncoupled and left behind as a result. Some of the passengers had to stay behind, too, since there was not enough room in the remaining coaches. On top of that, none of the passengers had a leather bootlace to help like Jane's had to go through many years ago. Brandon was called to help. So you had a brake trouble?
Yes, please get us to the nearest station. Merlin is should leader by now when we're going to be very late.
Understood. A workman was called in to fix the brake, and before long it was fixed. Brandon shunted the remaining coach towards the next station. Merlin was waiting.
Brandon, I'm glad to see you there. There is a spare coach already in the sidings. Could you shunt it to the back of my train? I have too many passengers on my buses as it is.
Of course, Merlin. Brandon quickly shunted the coach into place just as it was time for Merlin to go. He quickly blew his whistle and set up for Victorstown. Merlin was deeply concerned. Yes, he was in Brandon's thoughts for the right reasons, but he was worried that what he envisioned could be coming true. Merlin arrived at the platform where James was waiting.
I'm telling you, Merlin, that Katrina I have been hearing about is a nasty piece of work. She got stuck on Gordon's Hill, and then...
That I am aware, James, but you must know something. I know who is causing the misunderstanding between Brandon and Katrina.
Who would that be, Merlin?
But Merlin heard the guard's whistle.
Must be heading back, James. I will tell you later. Goodbye.
Okay, then.
James popped away feeling concerned.
The way Merlin was speaking to me, it was feel like this was real.
Deep down, James had a feeling he was right. He too made his way, and was going to inform Strutman about Merlin's revelation. Meanwhile, Brandon was working his bunker off when he noticed Katrina making her way through the junction. Moments later, he sees Patrick pass by. Brandon was annoyed. Brad better not be doing what I think he's doing. Brandon crossly continued his work, banging the trucks about till they were all shunted into place. Adam noticed this and popped up next to the E2 with concerning news.
Brandon, there is something you must know.
Adam, where have you been? What is this you need to tell me?
It's a long story.
As Adam told the story to Brandon, he realized something. So it was him that was behind this entire time.
I better get going. Thank you later, Brandon.
Wait, Adam! But Adam was gone. Brandon was dumbfounded and concerned. He continued to work for the remainder of the day when he saw Katrina passing by on her own. She slowly made it through towards the engine sheds. It's been a hard days of work, honey. Patrick came through moments later. When he was diverted towards the opposite loop line, Brandon glared at the diesel till he was out of sight. Filthy thing, he muttered as the E2 continued about his work. Back on Sodor, Diesel 10 had some concern of his own.
Splodge! Watch where you're shunting those trucks! You could have ruined my facial! Well, you said that about the coal. It's been keeping you up all night again. Now is not the time to reminisce on such events, Splodge. Right now we have to...
Guys!
Dordy, don't do that! You could have angered the workmen from their nap!
What did I miss?
You see?
Alright, you two. Let's get back to work but then a workman ran up to Sir Topham Hatt.
There's trouble at Elsbridge. Percy has ran out of water. He needs a push to the nearest water tower.
Splodge, go and help Percy at once.
You heard him, Splodge. Go help Percy.
Now, where was I?
Sir, I don't mean to intrude, but this Katrina, is she really that violent? I mean, Pinchy could be of assistance if she's that dangerous.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Diesel 10. We must wait until all facts of the matter are covered. Katrina is nice, yes, but can be very sensitive.
She needs a serious wake-up call before something serious happens.
Indeed, Gordon. But how is the question? Meanwhile, on the mainland, Edward was busy making his way through the countryside when he saw an engine similar to his own shape. Edward recognized it at once.
Victor!
Hello, Edward. Seems you are your way to Buck Island, am I correct?
Yes, to drop off some supplies at the steelworks. I heard about Katrina. However, have you, Victor?
Why, yes, that giant Russian tender engine. I have seen her but never met her.
Hello, Edward and Victor. Welcome. I've been very busy all day. Phew.
Well, it's a lovely spring evening with all the cool spring air. Surely the season will turn shortly.
The day went very smoothly. Edward dropped off the supplies to the steelworks. Brandon helped arrange the trucks and the science as Hurricane and Merlin made their way with their loads of steel headed for places far away. They were in a hurry for two reasons. One, so they could be on time, and two, so they would not be seen from Katrina in the slightest. It was dusk when the day's work was over, and Edward was chatting with Victor when...
So, all this time, Victor, you have not seen Katrina, but have heard about what is going on between she and Brandon?
Of course, Edward. God, what a misunderstanding. Now what's the worst that could happen? And oh no.
What? And good God!
That's our cue, Edward. Let's bowl before we become mincemeat.
Where'd everyone go? Oh well, good hard day's work. What could possibly... But then as Brandon was passing by, he saw Katrina just getting ready to go back to the sheds on the opposite track. Brandon was only a few yards in front of Katrina. The tender engine stared for a second before looking very annoyed at the two. Brandon, happy and innocent, hopped quickly away. That was a close one.
Brandon, are you okay?
Geez, that Katrina is a good piece of work.
Victor, I suggest we head back to Sodor and let Sir Topham Hatt know about this if that is okay with you and Brandon.
Go on ahead, Edward. You tell him. Katrina has to see the truth before anyone else does, even that questionable Diesel.
You mean that blue Diesel that seems to be very friendly and outgoing?
Yes, Victor, and I do not trust him.
Questionable Diesel. We understand.
Edward and Victor made their way back to Sodor while Brandon went back to the sheds. On the way, he saw Patrick the Diesel. He alluded to Victor and Edward. Patrick gave a smile as Brandon managed a smile passing by. When the pathway was clear, Patrick made his way towards Burlington Goods Yard. 20 minutes later, Brandon made his way to the sheds. He slept there that night and was worried even more. Katrina was there, yes. Brandon knew he had to be on his buffers until it was the right moment for him to speak to Katrina. Meanwhile, Edward and Victor were making their way back to Sodor when Adam stopped opposite of the platform.
Guys!
Adam, what's the matter, mate? Did you see a ghost?
Or more importantly, did you see Katrina?
Yes and no, but last night she held me captive!
For what reason?
And Adam began to explain his side of the story that took place a few days earlier.
Oh dear, Adam, I am sorry this had to happen. I am really sorry.
It's fine, but Brandon must know!
As does Sir Topham Hatt.
Indeed he does!
The next day, Brandon was hauling a freight train towards Dakar docks. On his way, he met Patrick the Diesel. Brandon was suspicious about the E2 and was waiting for his path to be clear. He then saw Merlin pass by, frantically running away from something.
Seems he is in a hurry.
Yeah, quite true. He is scared not often, however he is an invisible engine.
Are you pulling my exhaust?
Oh, no, I am certainly not, and Brandon began to explain to Patrick all about Merlin.
Oh, I see.
Well, that's my guard's whistle. Best be off. Bye now. Brandon walked away from Patrick about Merlin. I must not be late. Gotta get these trucks delivered in. Then, as he waited for another signal, he saw Katrina rush by with a passenger train. Brandon reversed the other way.
What are you doing?
But Brandon was already past the signal box where he and the trucks were in the disused siding. Why did I run away from you? I should be running with you. Back on Sodor, Sir Topham had heard about Adam. The next time I see Adam, I will have a strong word with him and...
Sir, we have a huge problem. Henry has come off the tracks just before Gordon's Hill. An oil tanker is leaking all over the tracks. There could be a fire.
Thank you for reminding me, Diesel 10. Get the breakdown train and go help Henry at once. Diesel 10 wasted no time in collecting the breakdown train as Splatter and Dodge made their way to warn incoming engines. All except Gordon, who rushed by with the Express.
Express coming through! Oh, that smell!
And here I thought you respected Diesels, Gordon. What are we waiting for, Splatter? We must stop Gordon. Oh, I have an idea.
Meanwhile, Henry was off the rails at the bottom of Gordon's Hill. He ran over a bump in the rails, causing Henry and the first few trucks off the rails. One of them being the oil tanker. It was old, all right, but it was leaking. His fireman then went back to the signal box to raise the alarm while the driver remained behind, with the guard protecting the train until help arrived. Then there was trouble. The heat caused by a mysterious spark caused the tanker to ignite.
We must get out of here.
God, come with me, I have an idea.
Henry's driver and the guard climbed into his cab as the regulator was open and the green engine slowly made its way up the hill, away from the blaze. They waited at the top of the hill where the fire brigade was making their way.
We kan ik toe déplacer oorhoogstens kan ik reacht dat var en toe verkles kan op travel by railen fortunately.
Why, you could use the water in my tank. It will put out the fire here in no time.
Clever thinking, Henry.
In no time, the fire was put out, but then...
Here I am, everyone, and holy scrap!
It's a long story, Diesel 10, trust me.
Oh no, that's Gordon! Where's Splodge when you need them?
You mean them?
Don't you get started, Henry!
Hey, we have a problem with the design.
What are you two doing?
Gordon, stop! There's trouble ahead of you! Henry has had an accident!
Oh, please, what can... Oh, bother!
Gordon's driver applied the brakes just inches from the singed brake band. Everyone was relieved.
Okay, this hill is officially a jinx. Where's the lucky lamp when you need it?
It took a long time for the mess to be cleaned up, but after a few hours, the mess was cleaned up. The track where the fire happened was blocked, and most engines had to rely on taking a different route to get to their destinations. They were not too thrilled to that at all. That evening, Edward brought workmen to replace the track. It was fixed all right, but confusion and delay happened and some trains were late as a result of the accident. Sir Topham Hatt did not approve at all. This is unfortunate. I get Henry having an accident, but the cause I question.
A spark caused it, sir.
Joey and Mickey concluded the same thing when they examined it.
Yes, but how is my question? The heat was a factor, yes, but how did the spark happen? I will have to delve deep into this for certain. Sir Topham Hatt made his way back to his office, pondering what might have actually happened that caused the fire. Back on Back Island, Brandon was making his way dropping off some trucks when he saw Patrick resting in the siding. His driver was getting the manifest for his next train, which was a heavy goods destined for Dakar docks. So sorry, did not see you there.
Oh, it's alright.
You have a good night.
You too.
Brandon was making his way back when he saw behind him was Katrina puffing the opposite direction. Brandon ran as fast as he could so he could get back to the sheds. He made it there in time, now feeling very annoyed. Okay, I need to gain enough courage to speak to her, and it'll be all good in the end. The next day, Brandon was working as usual, popping into his usual Pastor Express. As he made his way, he saw Patrick in conversation with a few engines, one of them being Theo. Brandon was now very puzzled as he continued about his work. He was shunting his coaches into a siding that evening when he saw Katrina pass by on her own. Brandon made eye contact with the P-36 before he turned off into the other line. Brandon felt a little better about this. He was confident that this was the first step in both engines recovering from their mistake on Sodor. On Sodor, meanwhile, Sir Topham was busy pondering what happened at Gordon's Hill when the telephone rang. Oh, bother with that telephone. Hello?
Sir, we have a problem.
What kind of problem, sir?
I will forward the call one moment.
Hello? Who is this?
Sir Topham, it's me, Nigel.
Nigel, what is the matter?
Well, come and meet me and I will discuss it with you, sir.
On my way.
It's quite frustrating, isn't it, sir?
It is Katrina. He's an engine I want to have on my railway, but from what you've told me, it's quite troubling. However, once I speak to Katrina, then I will have a final say in whether she is welcome back to my railway.
You better get on it, sir. Katrina will blow a fuse any day if there is even a slight encounter between her and any engine.
You are quite right, Nigel. Katrina needs to see sense. I talked to Brandon and he will join in my conversation with Katrina.
Good, because if I hear one more complaint regarding Katrina, I swear to Audrey I will lose it.
More or less, we will lose it, Nigel.
Anyway, sir, have a good evening.
Likewise. Sir Topham Hatt walked back to his office, wondering what would happen next. On Back Island, meanwhile, it was snowing. Brandon was making his way back to the sheds when he saw Katrina resting in a siding. Brandon reversed back to get a quick look before puffing quickly away. I love you, Katrina. Know it. Brandon puffed into the shed and went fast asleep, knowing this was only the beginning. Back on Sodor, all was quiet, at least for now.
The whole railway will be dieselized once I destroy that P-36. And once she's through, it's her boyfriend that will be next.
The next day, Brandon was working away as usual, but later he was resting in a siding when Katrina passed by Brandon. Brandon tried to make eye contact, but flinched in the event the worst were to happen. Come on, me, that's not the engine I'm right now. Brandon resumed his work, and by mid-afternoon, he was waiting for a road when Patrick passed by pulling a light goods train. Brandon was admiring his surroundings to himself. The day is coming, I know it. Brandon resumed his work a few minutes later. Meanwhile, on Sodor, Mr. Starr and Mr. Zorro were having a conversation about the accident on the hill.
I cannot fathom what the bloody Sodor happened with Henry's train. Believe me, John, I think there was more to this. Could it be that Russian engine? She was very rude last time she was here. Now I understand your opinion, John, but Katrina was here on time. Let's not point any fingers or draw conclusions till the investigation is complete.
Sir Topham Hatt rushed to the two controllers. Nigel, John, we have a problem. Back on the mainland, Brandon was working away. He noticed Patrick was shunting trucks into a siding. Brandon continued making his way, thinking of what may happen next. Back on Sodor, Sir Topham Hatt explained to Mr. Starr and Mr. Zorro about the issue.
What? You can't be serious, Sir Topham.
No joke. The trees somehow are poisoned. Oh dear, Henry. We will not like the fact we will have to be cut down those trees unless...
What are you saying, Topham?
Point is, John, I believe something is fishy about what has happened here. Till then, keep your eyes and ears open.
Understood.
Meanwhile, Brandon encountered Patrick again. He swooshed past with an express train. Then an hour later, Brandon saw Katrina pass through passed through, Brandon was starting to feel he had missed her already. Meanwhile, in Sodor, workmen were about to leave for the forest when... Stop right there!
What's wrong, sir?
Those trees may have been poisoned, but Joey and Mickey may have found out who may have done this.
We think that paranormal activity did this.
Thanks to an eyewitness, we have a photo of what may have been the cause of it all.
IT cannot be.
Dr. Beeching. He just can't stay out of trouble, can he? As Sodor was in danger on Back Island, Brandon was continuing to shunt and haul his trains, when a workman strutted to the tank engine.
Topham Hatt is on his way to Surreal regarding you are going to Sodor.
Oh, that would be great. But deep down, he wished Katrina would come to Sodor with him. At that moment, Katrina rolled by. Both looked face to face for the first time in well over almost a year. Brandon felt satisfied, but Katrina wasn't as she popped away. I hope you know I'm sorry, honey. When he said that thought to himself as he made his way back to the sheds. On Sodor, chaos ensued. Tracks were ripped from the rails. Trucks and coaches were derailed. Serious confusion yet delay further and further. So Topham was starting to lose his patience. Right? That's it. I am going to find Dr. Beeching and stop him at once.
But Sir Topham, what if he kills you on the spot? Not to mention doing something terrible to you.
Thank you for your concerns. But this nonsense must stop. Sir Topham had thunder out of his office, and he roared towards his car before driving up to Vickerstown.
I have a very bad feeling about this. I swear that Katrina might be behind this. Last time I checked the records, Katrina possesses no magic whatsoever. Even still, best to keep our eyes open just in that case.
Both men walked back to their respective duties. Meanwhile, Brandon was working hard as usual. However, while waiting for a road, he saw Katrina. Both made eye contact for the first time in a while. Brandon's way was clear, but a little ways down the line he saw Patrick stopped at a red signal waiting with a train of tar wagons. Brandon quickly reversed so he would not be seen. Then he saw Katrina puffing slowly with a slow goods train. Brandon quickly and politely let her pass. Brandon was starting to have a concerned feeling in his smoke box. Meanwhile, Topham was driving furiously towards Vickerstown. When he arrived, he saw Theo in the platform. Theo, take me to the mainland at once. This is an emergency.
Right away, sir.
Both left the station, Theo going as fast as wheels would let him. Dr. Beeching will get his money's worth once he is dealt with. Meanwhile, Brandon was still thinking about Katrina. He was making his way when he saw her at the junction. The signal turned green, and Katrina made her way. Both made eye contact, and Brandon managed a smile as both passed. Brandon was more determined than ever to get Katrina back. The sooner this ordeal is over, the better. Back on Sodor, all the other engines were wondering what had been going on, and more importantly, what was the status of Theo and Sir Topham Hatt.
Are you sure this is a good idea, sir?
James, I've had quite enough with this nonsense. It's time to settle this once and for all. That Christmas, Brandon wrote a note to Katrina. It read, "Hello, Kate. It's me, Brandon. May this Christmas end the present year on a cheerful note and make way for a fresh and bright new year. Here's wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year." When Katrina saw the note, her driver sent a reply note and it read,
Реалы, дан толк-то имеют из мастеров пасть.
Brandon felt a little disappointed, yet felt as if that was her way of saying sorry for what happened. Meanwhile, Sir Topham, James, and Theo made their way to Back Island.
Why can things go as simply as possible here?
Will you tell me, Gordon, that Katrina's very... oh, well...
She's very full of herself.
Now that is not the way to speak to a lady, Percy.
Thomas treated me like a lady and still does to this day.
Meanwhile, Eric was having troubles of his own.
Ah, bloody things! Why won't you come quietly there? Mind those trucks or something.
Caution is warranted, Eric, you're lucky.
What do you mean?
When I started work on Sodor, the trucks were much ruder than the ones we're dealing with today.
Oh well, then I guess I've learned something new, I suppose.
When the trio arrived at Back Island, Sir Topham was cross and yet very direct. All right, show yourself, you scum.
What do you mean, sir?
There is nothing inside.
There is now, you pathetic morons.
Identify yourself or we will take action.
Does this answer your question, Fat Hat?
Dr. Beeching.
That's right. Your reign as controller ends tonight.
I don't think so, Beeching.
Maybe this will change your mind.
Katrina!
Silence! Good. Now, you will go no further or this engine will meet its end, Jen.
James then let out a huge blasphemous whistle. It was so loud, Merlin and Adam, who were in the nearby scions, overheard this and rushed to the scene.
Hurry, Merlin!
I'm going as fast as I can, you know.
Brennan, who was making his way back to the yards when... Katrina, I will save you, my dear.
Your whines won't do. No one will save you.
Except me.
Yes, well, if it isn't a steamy waiting to meet the smelting fires.
You're Dr. Beeching. I have heard about you.
And so have I.
What do you mean?
Observe.
You wanted me, sir.
So it was true. You were hitting on her.
Look, it's not true at all. I swear it's not in my personality.
Lies! You want to marry this innocent engine? The engine I want to scrap.
What do you mean, scrap? Last I heard of you, my father told me that you died in 1985.
Yes, I did. However, my work was not done. I was a successful railway controller just like you, Topham. Made all the necessary business cuts riding steam off Britain's finest railways. Sadly, some were preserved, much to my digestion innocence in 1980. I heard Russia had built the P-36 class. I had intentions on meeting with the Prime Minister at the time, but 6 years later I died. In the years after I died, I plotted to finish what was starting writing the existence of this engine in its kind entirely.
Russia preserved many of the P-36s, Katrina being one of them.
Oh, and if you're wondering why Katrina was being so spiteful to you, Ready to, it's because I manipulated Eve and Adam into being my subordinates.
Which you had no right to do so.
Now regret my actions. You will pay for your crimes, Dr. Beeching.
Perfect timing.
You too, Diesel 10.
Seems we meet again after all these years, Beeching.
You and the Diesels will be scrapped once I finish Katrina off. Oh wait, Patrick, you have to make your decision. Now choose.
You don't decide for no one, Beeching. I will, and you will pay for what you have done.
I won't resist your control anymore, Beeching.
Silence, you imbecile! You will do as I command you!
You fool! You won't get away with this. Sir Topham Hatt charged at the Spectre.
Is that the best you got, Fat Hat?
As long as I breathe, I will not let you hurt any of these engines. Katrina, I'm sorry for the misunderstanding and... Brandon was more determined than ever to save the love of his life.
Brendan, save yourself. I'll deal with these blokes.
Invisibility on!
Back on Sodor, all the engines were wondering about the safety of Sir Topham Hatt.
I hope they did not get stuck on a hill.
Or got shot up in a tunnel.
Who knows, Gordon? Maybe they lost their domes.
Duck, do not remind me of that.
Well, there are two ways of doing things. The Great Western Way or the wrong way.
Don't we know that, quackers?
Look, arguing aside, we must be very concerned for Brandon. I am clearly worried that things could get out of hand very fast. We need to help our friends before they get very hurt.
Meanwhile, Brandon was having great difficulty. Kate, you must trust me. I love you.
Save your breath, simpleton. Your special friend will be melted down to scrap before you can say...
Be quiet, Beeching. We will end you one way or another.
And how are you going to stop me that easily? Rely on your engines to save yourselves.
Over my dead body. You won't get away with this, Dr. Beeching.
Try me, fathead.
Damn, I hope Brandon is alright.
You won't prevail.
You traitors will pay for your crimes.
Unlike you, I choose my allies wisely.
You see, E2, the game is nearly over. One more wheel turn, and you will join your precious friend in the scrap heap.
That is enough, you lustful twit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you sensing defeat? Because I am on the verge of victory, Tank Engine!
I have a name, damn it. My name is Brandon. I have fought long and hard for my true love. Lay one finger on her, and you are as history as Sir Nigel Breslin was.
Just be glad Gordon is not here.
Shut up! All of you! You tire me out! All you wheezy, noisy, creaky, wanting to get in the way of every revolution, but no! You all see this as a chance to waste my time to dominate the world!
Revolutionize this, Beeching! Boss, what about the others? We can't just leave them here. Focus on the task ahead, Splodge. Deal with Brandon, then we help Brandon get his friend back. Are you sure, boss? Let's just get rid of that Beeching before I overheat about this mess.
Alright, you come at me.
Adam, it's no use, just go save yourselves.
Why would I have to eat all you,
It's not what it was, I swear.
I would like to hear that once you explain that to Brandon. He was cross with you as far as I know.
Adam, we have a ghost to deal with, in case you don't know.
This is getting ridiculous. I am going. Where are you going? To help Brandon. I need more help.
Oh, no, you don't. As far as I know, Sir Topham Hatt ordered all of us to remain on Sodor till the ordeal was solved.
Thomas, what are we going to do?
Some of us must go and help.
But Thomas, Sir Topham Hatt will have a word with us if...
Gordon, I hate to say this. Thomas is right.
Whoever is willing to help Brandon in his fight for Katrina, follow me. And Eric, remember, I almost lost Nia as a friend. It's the least I can do for Brandon for his friendship and for the world. If we don't stop Beeching...
Invisibility on! Invisibility on!
I don't believe this. One of my engines gets owned by an invisible engine.
They don't call him the invisible engine for nothing.
How is this for invisible?
Wait, where did he go?
I don't know, sir.
Chokin.
Sweetie!
Shut up! Or she goes!
You harm Katrina, or any of the other engines. Your head will be served on a platter and will be rightfully crushed with a steamroller.
Oh, how it pains me to do this!
Bring it on, Beeching!
Oh, engine number 10, we meet again at long last!
Never call me what I used to be known as!
Diesel 10, after all this time, we meet face to face. Simple task in front of you, take the life of this innocent engine, complete the mission, and fulfill my destiny.
The only destiny I will fulfill is your downfall!
Traitor!
You did, boss! You took down Beeching! It's not over yet!
Everyone, let's go find that ghost and send him back to where he came from. We're here!
What has happened?
Stand your ground, Sudrians.
There is a bomb in the smelters, where this Steamy is to meet her final fate. Decide between the life of Fathead or the engine. Now choose. You only have 2 minutes.
No one decides the fate of my lover on any given night.
What are you doing?
This is for Katrina, Sodor, and my friends.
You accurate and scrappy!
And don't come near her again.
Brandon
I love you, Katrina.
Illuviate Brandon.
I hate to interrupt the celebrations, but we're not done here.
The engine bodyguards are taken down.
Thanks to my invisibility, no less.
Merlin, now would not be the time to gloat about your invisibility.
The question is, why did you come?
I could not hold back the thought of losing you to Dr. Beeching.
It was all Eric's idea.
And to think of Eric of all engines would do something like that.
I mean, that was courageous of Eric to think of a plan like that.
Most times, his ideas would be very silly indeed.
Hey, we all make mistakes, James. Now, it's not the time to argue.
Oh dear, we have a minute till the area is a bloody crater. Everyone, let's get out of here. Everyone, let's get out of here. Don't worry, Katrina. I have you. Do you trust me?
Yes, и да.
Then we will leave this area together as lovers.
What about Beeching? Does that answer your question?
No one under any circumstances humiliates me like that!
Everyone go, I will stop them.
Wait, Patrick, stop!
I have no use of being involved with this, and neither do you.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
They're gone. And Patrick sacrificed himself. Now I feel bad for pushing him being around Katrina. All that remains of Patrick is a charred husk of what he used to be. This will be a sad day for certain. I'll phone the authorities and fire rescue crews to clean the mess. We'll find a place to spend the night until we return to Sodor tomorrow. All the engines agree with Sir Topham, and one by one, All the engines fell asleep in the sheds, except Brandon and Katrina, who wanted to catch up on their escapades. Katrina, sweetie, I'm so sorry. I'm truly am.
Ibeliau Brandon it's aldricturial and out of your right regaining my trust for you and your friends I feel sorry for my actions on this land.
It's alright, honey. I love you, Katrina.
I love you, Brandon.
Oh, gross! Get a shed, you two!
Says the one who could not take the express up Gordon's Hill thanks to some leaves.
Do not remind me of that!
Brandon and Katrina spent a majority of the night talking it out and resorting to moving on from what happened in the past. Both started over fresh and became firm friends. The next day all the engines made their way back to Sodor. When they arrived, they could not believe what they were seeing. A huge crowd awaited them. Engines, people, and vehicles alike. They were ecstatic to see their friends back. Ladies, gentlemen, and engines, the last few years have been quite something. Here is a proud P-36 class who misunderstood the personality of one of my engines. Brandon here. He saved the day, although it came at the sacrifice of a diesel from the mainland. Dr. Beeching's terror has finally come to an end, at long last.
I'm so glad that ghost has been dealt with. Don't we have other ghosts to deal with, boss? I mean, they won't stay dead. Well, Splodge, we can't kill something that is already dead. But in this case, did we make sure of it?
At least life will be returning to normal, hopefully.
Right now we must. I've had quite enough of ghosts for a while. Glad to see that everything is in good order after all that nonsense.
Honey, where do you want to go on this beautiful island?
Show me everything to start fresh with you.
So both made their way across the island. Brandon showed Katrina all the sights and destinations. Katrina was impressed. The other engines thought that Brandon was being very silly indeed.
The nature of one being with the other simply marvelous.
Ah, can't they find a shed and...
Now, James, that's not the way to treat a lady.
Oh, please!
Though I am enjoying this, it's quite a nice change.
Well, this is quite amazing. I think those two will work wonders for each other.
What's wrong, sir? Whoa! Look out! We're sorry.
And I thought my engines caused confusion and delay.
Oh dear, sir. Seems you need to do a background check on those blocks.
Come on, Dougie.
I am. I just cannot get over her.
Oi, find someone else, lassie.
He is quite right, Douglas. Besides, don't you have someone that you love?
I almost forgot.
Coley, that would never suit his grace.
How many times have I heard that phrase before?
Now, Diesel, that is not the way to speak to an engine of higher importance.
You are here for fan service once again, Ducky.
Oh, shut it, Diesel. That is certainly not true.
Really, I cannot wait to hear the end of this excuse.
All the engines were in perfect harmony after the ordeal was finally dealt with. By the new year, the engines were happy, excited, and looking forward to the new year. They reflected on the past years as they planned the resolutions when Topham Hatt arrived. Engines, I thank everyone for another successful year on Sodor. Times do change, but what does not change is the friends we have made over the years. Here's to 2020 and for many more years to come. Kate?
Yes, Brandon.
You want to go on a date with me?
Yes, Brandon, you would be delighted to again with you.
Brandon was so happy and felt like he had a burden lifted off his buffers. Both engines went on a lovely stroll. They got to know each other more. They went through tunnels, over hills, covering every single track till it was nearly sunset. Their eyes twinkled to each other, the setting perfect, the moment intense, their connection growing stronger than ever. So what would you like to do, my dear?
Anything, my dear Brandon, anything.
Then it happened.
Moi.
You're so sweet, my dear Katrina.
You're even sweeter, my dear Brandon.
They decided to watch a film together when the day's work was over. They decided to go to the movies together. Hello, Kate.
You look beautiful, my dear.
Oh yes, sweetie, you look amazing as well.
No promise me we'll take it slow.
Of course, babe. I promise to take it very slowly for you. Both and watched the film together. When it came time for a romantic moment, Katrina was waiting for a kiss. Mwah. Meanwhile, the other engines were reminiscing on a few matters.
Golly, it's been well over 2 months and it seems those engines are starting on the right foot again.
I'm sure they'll do well, Win. Just you wait and see.
It wouldn't hurt to get a peek of those cylinders.
Oliver, you do know you're in the presence of a female.
Exactly, Emily. Better watch that attitude of yours, Oliver.
My sentiments exactly, Oliver.
Oh dear.
Everyone laughed it off. Meanwhile, Peter was talking to Hurricane and Percy.
My, they two look great together.
I imagine that this is the case between you and Frankie, and Hurricane.
Well, you say it's not what you think it is, Peter.
Seems like you got burnt, Hurricane.
I will get it for eating that piece of her.
Elsewhere, the other engines were having a moment of their own.
Oh dear. Seems we have a spill.
Then he told you to be careful with that.
But I was not for you rushing along like you always do.
Can we not argue here, please? It's a new year.
I would certainly have to agree.
Seems they cannot make their minds up about something.
More or less their sense of direction.
You're lucky Mr. Zorro is not here, otherwise he would give you a truck to the bogey.
Oh, I support your right, Lily.
You are cheeky, Colin. What will we ever do without you?
Me? How am I cheeky?
Well, you did insult all those poor workers back there.
It's not my fault.
Says the one who was afraid of that bull.
Oh, don't remind me.
Hey.
Oh, stow it, Diesel, or it's a truck to the bogey for you.
Ooh, Colin, you got that diesel good, mate.
I say he deserved to be roasted for all that nonsense.
Meanwhile, Brandon and Katrina are having a great time. They just got done watching their film, and they both admired the sunset from afar. Both decided to watch it together. Katrina, you know how much I love you. I hope someday we will continue our relationship beyond today. Because I don't want anyone to harm you. You're my priority. And always will be. I love you too, my dear Katrina. Well, sweetie, I'm thinking of an action. Both engines celebrate their relationship long into the evening, but when the sun finally setted, things were turned up a notch. Ready, honey?
Yes, baby.
As Brandon and Katrina shared their everlasting love, the other engines were happy that the ordeal with Dr. Beeching finally ended, and that Brandon and Katrina made amends and solidified their relationship together.
My goodness! I cannot see, nor can I unhear that.
Oh, goodness, shall I make arrangements? I feel so proud for the both of them.
To be quite honest, Sir Robert, I quite agree.
What can I say? I'm proud for Brandon, and equally proud for Katrina as well.
That is quite true, Thomas. I wonder what she will have in store for us on the island.
Over the coming days and months, Brandon and Katrina solidified their relationship together. Both took trains together. More often than Topham was relieved, Katrina apologized to everyone for their mistreatment on her first visit to Sodor. Nowadays, Katrina works from Vicarstown to the mainland, but would always spend time with Brandon whenever either side could get the chance. But in the later months, an old enemy of Sir Topham Hatt was lurking in the shadows. But that is a story for another day.